Hey everybody! Dave Sitzler here. How's it going? Uh, Thanks for coming to our second show. This is a continuation of show number one. And let me just do a quick recap. Um, this is going to be short and sweet because I value your time and I know that there are a lot of things in your day. And I want you to be able to tune into this without having it be some gigantic commitment. I want you to be able to just tune in, get some value, and not be having something shoved down your throat. You know, the reason that I'm doing this is because so much of our space in internet marketing is being taken up with trash, with noise. There, 95% of the things that you can sign up for online are not going to be money makers if you read their disclaimer. The vast majority of people don't make any money, but there are some that do, and so that gives them the right to claim that they can, make you all this. And it usually comes with a picture of a guy with a fistful of checks or a fistful of cash or a Lamborghini or a big mansion or something like that. So what we want to do in the first few episodes, we're going to deal with something that's called shiny object syndrome. How to avoid shiny object syndrome, okay? And there are basically three things that you will need to avoid shiny object syndrome, okay? In order to be successful in any kind of marketing, you need skills, okay? In other words, you need to know how to market. You need tools. You need things that are vehicles for you that will get the word out. And you need a real business plan. So I want to start with the third part first, a real business plan. What is a real business plan? Well, this may be an oversimplification, but a real business plan starts with I buy product X for $1 and I sell product X for $2. Okay? That's 100% markup. All right? That is about what is going to be necessary on average to make money in any kind of thing. Now, there's exceptions to that, right? In financial services and stockbrokers and things like that, banks, those kinds of things, they work on smaller margin and higher volume. But for our purposes, okay, if you're buying vitamins or you're buying some product, a weight loss product, or something that oils or something that gives value that other people want, the general rule of thumb is you need to buy it for $1 and sell it for $2. Why? Because you're not making $1 profit when you do that. When you buy something for $1 and you sell it for $2, you also have to consider your time to market it. And you need to give yourself an hourly number, right? And let me put it to you this way. If you save $7 on a product, let's say you're going to go buy a product and it costs $20, but you can buy it for $13. Well, that sounds great, right? Why not buy it for $13? But if it takes you all day, if you have to drive several hours to go to this place to get it for $13 and then drive all the way home, right? You didn't really get it for $13, did you? Right? So what you have to consider is your time, is your marketing expense, because in order to market, you need to have skills and you need to have tools. Tools cost money and skills cost money. You have to have training. You have to have knowledge. That costs money. That does not come free. And you have to be able to pay yourself back from that. Okay? So one of the things that is a good rule of thumb is you need to be able to buy product X for $1 and sell it for $2. There are exceptions to that within the margin. Okay? Maybe you buy it for $1.25 and you sell it for $1.50 because you can sell a whole bunch of them. Okay, I can understand that. But the value has to be your value has to be compensated for. This is one of the mistakes people make when they get into multi-level marketing companies. Multi-level marketing is a great concept. The problem with multi-level marketing is that most multi-level marketing companies do not have a real business plan. Calling your family and friends is not a real business plan. Everybody has a finite number of family and friends. And the way people are nowadays, they don't want to go to your hotel meeting. They don't want to hear about your MLM. They don't pick up their phone. Do you ever do this? Do you ever call someone on the phone and you get their voicemail, and like a second later, instead of leaving the voicemail, you just leave them a text and say, "Oh, I just wanted to say hi," and they text you right back? Do you ever have that happen? You're like, "Why didn't you just pick up the phone?" Because people don't pick up their phone. Part of the reason why people don't pick up their phone is because, especially if they know you're involved in an MLM, they might love you as a person, but they don't want to hear about it. The truth is that a real business plan has to be a broader marketing strategy, okay? Calling your family and friends ain't going to do it. Not this day and age. It might have worked in the 80s, but it's not going to work today. Forget it. In fact, if you go, this is one of the things that I want to help you with. I have signed up. I can't name their names. I was thinking about this, if I should actually name the names of all of these opportunities that I've either signed up for or been exposed to. Because I like marketing. And I've always been pretty good at sales and marketing. And so anybody that knows me that's got into one of these things, right? I'm on their list. I'm like the first person they think of, like, "Oh yeah, I got to talk to Dave about this. He'd be great at this." And I've done all that. It sounds great. But what you're not putting into the mix is your time to learn skills of real marketing and the tools that you're going to need to pay for to do that. So that's why it's always a good rule of thumb to buy a product for $1, sell it for $2. Now, the next part of that real business plan has to encompass how many of these products can be sold. Is there a market for the product? Now, the best way to do that is to do a Google search. Okay, you can do a keyword search too. You can get real fancy with this kind of thing. But the key is to do research. Find out how many of these products are being sold. Think about it. Go into stores. Go walk through your life in your mind and see how many of these are being sold. Now, that's a double-edged sword in a way, because part of that can mean that if a lot of them are being sold, there's a lot of competition, therefore smaller margins. Supply and demand, okay? If you have a lot of demand and you have a lot of supply, that's not necessarily a marketing success strategy, because if you have a lot of supply and a lot of demand, you're going to have smaller margins because people are going to compete on price because they know that you can buy it somewhere else, okay? So what you want to find out and to do the best that you can, and this is not saying that you can't compete in a difficult market, but that takes a lot of passion and a lot of fire. And if you're not there, if you're just being analytical and you're thinking about it in these kinds of terms, you can't do very well competing like that. So remember, do your research. Find out how many of these widgets are being sold. Find out how much demand there is for it in the market. Is the demand rising or is it falling? Is it something that a lot of people don't know about yet, so that there's a lot of growth potential? All of these things are things that you need to think about, but beyond thinking about it, you need to search on the internet and get some real numbers, okay? So in order to be successful, in order to avoid shiny object syndrome, you need real marketing skills, you need real tools, and you need a real strategy. So we're just dealing with that strategy right now, and we're going to get into tools and skills. But the thing to remember is that you have, because of the power of the internet, the ability to research it, the ability to really look at it, because ultimately anything can be overcome if you have a real passion for it, okay? So just because market numbers don't work out perfectly, I'm not saying don't do something simply because of that, all right? It's not always a a straight line linear thing. A lot of it's about your heart and your passion. So if you have that, that will go a long way to creating a business plan, because your passion, your enthusiasm will affect sales, definitely, without question. But that doesn't happen in a vacuum. You have to have knowledge of these other skills. You have to know your market, okay? And so one of the things that you've got to take into consideration before you do anything is, if you're going to get involved with a company, what is their marketing strategy? And I'm just going to be this. This is our safe space. So I'm not trying to sell you anything. You're not trying to buy anything. We're just laying it on the line. If you go to a multi-level marketing company and they tell you their marketing plan is call family and friends, get out. Do not do that. Or get in knowing that you have skills and tools that's going to put you ahead of the competition. Calling family and friends is not going to work. I'm sorry. I know that there are people out there that are pulling their hair out right now going, Dave, that's not true. I've made X amount of dollars and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And that might have worked, 1 in X number. But the truth is, the only reason it works for some people is it works for people at the top, because the people down here that call family and friends, they write 3 or 4 deals. That ends up going up to the top people. They don't make any money. And since the top people already have big numbers, it ends up working for them. So I'm just going to tell you, this is my opinion. I'm being as straight with you as I can possibly be. Calling family and friends is not going to work. Don't do it. Don't waste your time doing it. If you're going to get into a deal where that's their marketing strategy, then I would suggest to you that you make up your own marketing strategy. If you have that passion, and we talked about it, if you have that great passion, I want to do this, I love this, I want to give this to people, and fine. But don't expect to pick up your phone and make a list of your family and friends, call them on the phone, and have that be an actual marketing strategy, because that ship has already sailed and it's not going to work anymore. Maybe it did 20, 30 years ago, but it's not going to work anymore. So in the next video, I told you I was going to try to keep these short. It's not easy to do because there's a lot of information. But we're going to get into the next one. We're going to talk about the first 2 parts of how to avoid shiny object syndrome. And the reason they call it shiny object syndrome, I guess that's obvious. But, when you see the fistful of checks, the fistful of money, the big mansions, the Lamborghinis and stuff, that's what we're talking about, okay? Those are the shiny objects that people are attracted to, that they want. And everybody wants that. Look, you're okay. It's not greedy if you want to have a lot of money, if you want to have a lot of things. That is not greedy, okay? Being greedy is doing that by taking it from somebody else, okay? So it's totally okay to have ambition, to have high goals, and don't let anybody talk you out of that. But when you get into any kind of marketing, any kind of deal, especially we're talking about here online marketing deals, avoid shiny object syndrome. We're going to talk about skills. We're going to talk about tools in the upcoming videos. But I hope that you'll be able to develop a business plan that has some very basic elements in it, such as buying something for $1, selling it for $2, as a good rule of thumb when you get into something. Hey, I hope this helped. A lot of love out to everybody. This is Dave. See you tomorrow.